Looks like it might be a bit of a foggy adventure today, perhaps even rainy. Breakfast of champions right here. Got our vanilla Earl Grey tea and our classic golden soup. It is still quite hot, so I'm gonna let that cool down for a couple of minutes, and I shall have my last feast. I'm packed up and I'm good to go. Today begins day 6 of my North Coast Trail adventure. Technically, I finished that one 2 days ago, but I did the extended trip where I made my way to Cape Scott and checked out the lighthouse. I spent 2 nights here at Nell's Bite, and it is a spectacular beach. Last night, I walked the whole crescent. My destination today is Eric Lake. It's about 14 kilometers away from Nell's Bite, and it'll be a mostly forest adventure, except for the very beginning here, where I'll be on the beach to get back into the forest. Today is a Saturday, which means there might be a bunch of people already camped out at Eric Lake. However, the weather is a bit dismal right now, so maybe that has deterred some people from showing up. So hopefully I get a spot there. If there's not a spot there, I'll be making my way to San Joseph Bay. It's only another 4 kilometers from Eric Lake. I'm super excited to check out Eric Lake. It's gonna be a bit of a tree world adventure. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a bit. Been here for 2 days, and it's been great. Had my own little private cookhouse, my own little private upper beach section. It was truly amazing. I'd recommend everyone trying to give this one a go. Even if you're not much of a backpacker, you know, it's only a 15-kilometer hike in here. And you can stay here for a weekend or 3 or 4 days if you'd like. And the terrain is not terrible at all. So I definitely recommend everyone giving this one a go. For now, it's time for me to say goodbye to Nell's Bite. It's a bit of a misty day. The rain is held off for now anyways, but I'll be in the forest, so I won't have to look at this cloud world. All right, goodbye Nell's Bite. You've been great. Truly an astonishing place. All right, it's about time I make my way to Tree World. Today's adventure begins at Nell's Bite yet again. This time, however, we will resume our main quest back towards civilization. We will stroll through the forest right away for about 2 kilometers before we make it to Hansen Lagoon and Hansen Creek. I would recommend filling up water here at this creek since it is free of tannin water, unlike Nell's Bite. Once we hit the 4 kilometer mark, we will be at a T intersection. Make sure you turn right and head towards the parking lot, or else you will be doing the North Coast Trail in reverse. From there, it's about another 3.5 kilometers until we hit up Fisherman's Creek, another great spot for a break and some water. You can also camp here. This is about halfway to Eric Lake. You won't have to worry about going without water today, for it is abundant. The remaining journey will be 6.5 kilometers through the forest. It's an easy hike, and it's mostly flat with minimal obstacles. This itinerary is a side quest from the North Coast Trail where I visited Cape Scott Lighthouse on the previous episode. Overall, today will be an easy breezy 14 kilometers with 360 meters of elevation. Most people who want to visit Eric Lake will be going there from the parking lot, so I will include this more popular itinerary. From the lot, we hike for just under a kilometer before we get to the junction. Make sure to turn right and head towards Eric Lake. From there, it's another 2 kilometers or so through the forest before we make it to Eric Lake. It's quite an easy stroll and is a perfect beginner's backpacking adventure. Going this way is a walk in the park with a distance of 3 kilometers and 120 meters of elevation. All right, here we go. Nell's Bite was truly a spectacular time for those 2 nights. My only regret is that I didn't stay longer. That beach has got to be one of the nicest places to camp while backpacking. What I like most about it is that you have to earn it to get there, especially coming from the North Coast Trail. Taking it easy yesterday and visiting the lighthouse was a nice break from all the strenuous adversities I put myself through. Don't get me wrong, I loved every moment of it, but it's always nice to kick back and take it easy, especially midway through a grindy adventure. Whether you come here from the North Coast Trail or the parking lot, you're gonna have a great time. I can't recommend it enough. Doesn't take long to get to Hansen Lagoon and Creek. It's a mostly open field that doesn't have much for trees. Honestly, feels a bit out of place considering the rest of the terrain. Apparently, this used to be an old Danish settlement at the turn of the 20th century. In 1899, they built a 7-foot high dike to protect the crops from the ocean. Unfortunately, it was destroyed on the same day it was completed. Talk about bad luck. They established a small colony here for only about 20 years before they abandoned it. This part of the island is ultra remote, even for today's standards. It's a marvel that it was attempted before modern machinery. Back into the forest I go. There are some signs and some old remnants of the past describing the history of this place just after you leave. Much of the hike to Fisherman's Creek is planked. I imagine in wetter seasons it's a bit more boggy. It's the middle of August, and on this part of the trail, there isn't much for mud traps. Hello everyone. I have made it to the Fisherman's Creek. It's about halfway between Nelsbite and Eric Lake. I figured, hey, why not stop for a little cup of tea, have a liquor spice? You can camp here. There's actually 2 tent pads, a food locker, and an outhouse. So it's definitely the smallest location. It's good if you want to like break up your hike between 2 days. If you're going to like Nelsbite or Nessenbite, you can just do a little 7K here and then 7K there. Let's make some tea. This is the Fisherman's River. It's a wooden river. Looks like it is also tannin water, but that's okay. Little bench over there, you can sit down, enjoy your meal. As we make our way to Eric Lake, the forest seems to get more dense and the roots become more gnarly. Not much for planks out here, but when you do come across them, they are a nice addition. I have made it to Tree World. Just look around me. Surrounded by giant trees on tree platforms. You know what this kind of reminds me of? Reminds me of episode 6 of Star Wars, when they're in the little Ewok village. There's no Ewoks here, but I guess you never know. Maybe I'll find one today. It's a little mosquito-y in Tree World, hence this needle-proof layer. Rather wear this than put on a bunch of bug spray. Put on some bug spray on my hands and back of my neck. But yeah, if I can not put on that stuff, then I won't. Personally, I can't stand the smell of it. But yeah, I am starving. It was a 14-kilometer hike to get here, although It was a pretty easy 14 kilometers. But yeah, I think it's time to make some tea, have some Ichiban noodles, and of course, the golden soup. Let's go get some water.
It's definitely a little bit windy here at Eric Lake, but boy, is it a sure change of pace from what I was doing the past week pretty much. Actually at a lake, camping at a lake instead of a beach. No sand, no seagulls, just me, fresh water.
What a spectacular day. Look at how nice it's become at Eric Lake. Remember at the beginning how it was overcast and misty and it was kind of a bit of a dreary day? Now look at it. The whole day turned out to be a nice, sunny, delightful day. Eric Lake, also known as Tree World, is something else. It really is. If you want to feel like you're in Star Wars Episode 6, hanging out with the Ewoks, then this is the place to be. It's a pretty easy hike to get here. It's just over 3 kilometers, and I do believe it's about 40 meters of elevation to get here, so it's super simple. There's 11 tent pads, an outhouse, and 4 bear lockers. This would be good for a beginner to try out for the first trip, or to drag some friends along who aren't too sure about backpacking yet. It was interesting to see the tiniest little frogs I've ever seen in my life. They're about the size of a dried up pine needle, maybe 2 centimeters in length. I've never seen frogs so small. I didn't know frogs could even get that small, but here they were. Land of the baby frog in Tree World. I think it's about time for me to head to bed. I got a very long adventure tomorrow at St. Patrick Mountain, and I gotta get up very early for that to beat the tide. Low tide is at 7 o'clock or 6:40 in some other charts. So I want to be there around then. And I got to hike 6 kilometers to get there. So I got to be up at 5 o'clock. Thank you all for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.